Hello, and thank you for joining us today. This is a recorded webinar, and if you are viewing this for your training requirements, you will have to certify your participation by using the link in the description box below. Today, we're going to be talking about the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. My name is Samantha Brewski, and I'm with Heidi Kidd, our Fiscal Supervisor for OSBI Child Nutrition. So again, welcome to our annual webinar for the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. Training is mandatory for both new and returning sponsors. Today we'll cover program basics for the administration and operation of the program. We're going to get started on spending plans and cover how to claim for the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. Heidi is going to cover the training for claims, and training is mandatory for both new and returning sponsors. The Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program runs fairly consistent without too many changes from year to year. The biggest change is that the program now operates on the federal fiscal year, and this changed last year. Heidi will have some good tips for you to share about regarding the filing claims for reimbursement. The Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program is seen as a catalyst for change. That change is leading children towards healthy eating habits and helping kids combat childhood obesity. Kids have an opportunity to taste produce during snack time that they might not otherwise get to try. Kids learn that the fresh fruit and vegetables make good snacks and are more apt to choose fresh fruit and vegetables in the future. The Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program started as a pilot program in 2002, and USDA continues to provide funding for all states to operate the program. OSBI Child Nutrition Services serves as a pass-through agency for the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. Funds are provided by USDA, and OSBI administers the program by passing through the funds to local education agencies, or LEAs, for use in elementary school sites in the most needs. The award period is the federal fiscal year from October 1st to September 30th each year. Newly participating schools will receive funds to participate in the program beginning October 1st, and the program will operate through September 30th of next year. Returning sponsors will use federal fiscal year 2018 funds to operate their programs through September 30th. Federal fiscal year 2019 funds or new funds for the school year 18-19 begin October 1st. The Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program must be offered during normal school hours and independent of school breakfast program and national school lunch program. This must be offered to all students at an approved site, and schools must accommodate students with disabilities and publicize the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. Please recognize that local education agencies must train school staff on the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. They must train kitchen staff, teaching staff, and support staff as applicable according to your procedures and how you'd like to administer the program. At a minimum, kitchen staff and teaching staff will likely need training. Keep a record of the training provided. Part of administering the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program and the awarded local education agency is keeping track of expenses. We have two types of expenses in the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program: administrative and operating expenses. Let's take a look at them both. First, we'll start with the administrative. Administrative expenses involve the management of fresh fruit and vegetable. Administrative expenses involve the management of Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. They also include tasks such as menu planning, ordering produce, tracking inventory, and submitting claims for reimbursement. So we do recommend to plan your menus. Planning a monthly menu is appropriate for the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program. There are many good reasons to plan a menu. You'll know what to order and can easily plan how much you will need. In addition, a menu helps to ensure that you have adequate staff on hand. You can also better plan educational opportunities. Menus ensure variety, and kids like variety when it comes to fruits and vegetables. Remember to plan your menu around seasonal produce. Purchasing produce when it's in season means the produce tastes best and is at a lower cost, and it also meets the Buy American provision. We know kids tend to like fruit, so plan vegetables at least 25% of the month. This means the program that operates 5 days a week would have a vegetable on the menu once a week. A few notes about vegetables. Dip can be part of the menu for vegetables, but it's always best to limit it. You might choose to only offer dip when it's when presenting new vegetables for kids to try. The dip must be low-fat or non-fat, and the portion size is 1 to 2 tablespoons. Cooked vegetables are an option. An example of offering a cooked vegetable is roasted baby potatoes. When offering a cooked vegetable, don't add anything for flavor. Cooked vegetables can be offered once per week and must be offered with nutrition education. And we just want to remind you that you're operating the fresh fruit and vegetable program. Canned and dried fruits and canned vegetables cannot be served. On the screen, you'll see a sample menu plan. This is available on the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable website, and you can use anything that you would like, however. Proper procurement always applies to the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable program. A few tips for using your Fresh Fruit and Vegetable program funds wisely includes ordering wisely. Fresh produce is perishable and has a short shelf life. In order to maintain storage capacity, order within storage capacity, and since the fresh fruit and vegetable has no specified portion size, plan for tasting 1 to 2 bites per student or a quarter to a half cup for snack size offerings. It's okay to mix up offerings to use up leftover produce. At the end of the week, you can use up the miscellaneous offerings from the week if there were fewer kids in attendance or you happen to have leftovers. But we do want to remind you to order carefully. Although you can use the leftover produce for the NSLP or school breakfast program, this should happen infrequently, and funds provided for the fresh fruit and vegetable program should go to the intended purpose, a snack for students outside meal programs. Monitoring inventory helps control costs by ensuring produce is used before it spoils. Prior to ordering, connect with food service staff that monitor the inventory on hand. Unplanned excess produce due to snow days and emergency closures can be donated or used in the NSLP or SBP. Please contact Child Nutrition Services for instructions. Claims is another administrative task that we'll cover, and we'll cover it later in this presentation. Let's move on to operating tasks. All other tasks are considered operating tasks and are assigned to operating expenses. These include daily tasks of preparing and delivering produce, cleanup, and monitoring activities. Operating tasks must be allowable in order to be claimed. Fresh produce may be ordered in a manner that requires preparation or may be ordered in a manner that requires no real preparation. The costs associated with preparation of produce are allowable operating expenses, and labor can be charged to the program. Allowable operating expenses are produce, dips, supplies used to serve produce like bags or paper boats, and labor, including benefits. Always maximize purchasing of produce and be conscious of small supply expenses that are not needed to operate the program. Refer back to your site application for produce service, including who is served and the days of the week. Your service plan should reflect your site application. Teachers may participate alongside students, but no other adults should participate. Participation by students in the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable program is voluntary. However, participation should be encouraged. It is always really nice to see a teacher participation and encouragement in the program, and that stopping classroom activities for a break for the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable program service is a daily routine. Food safety applies to the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable program and is a priority. In the classroom, opportunity to wash hands prior to service helps with food safety, and in the kitchen, the fresh fruit and vegetable produce should be included in the food safety plan. If you are a school district with a food service management company contract, you will need to check your contract. If the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable program is included in the contract, the company can operate the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable program for you. If it is not included in the contract, you must self-operate the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable program. Now that we've talked about administrative tasks and operational tasks and the appropriate expenditures, we are ready to discuss the spending plan. A spending plan is required for each site approved to operate the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable program. The link is on the screen and will take you to the spending plan on our web pages. Also, you can view our web pages, locate the child nutrition programs, and access the FFVP page. The spending plan shows us how you plan to operate your program, the part of the award that will be charged to administrative expenses, and the part that will be charged to operations. Spending plans should have been submitted to OSPI by September 14th, 2018. This screen shows a picture of the spending plan. To complete your plan, you will need to know how to award your allocation. To find your allocation, visit the OSPI Child Nutrition Services webpage and access the FFEP page. Look for the link of participating schools for the school year 2018-19 awardees. Find the participating schools and the dollar amount awarded on the spreadsheet. This will be your starting point to complete the spending plan. Over the next few slides, we will talk about expenses. See line B on the spending plan and line C, operational costs for direct labor and small supplies. Recall the tasks for administration and operation, and thus the division of labor that will be used for the spending plan. The spending plan has some very prescriptive requirements. For administrative costs on the spending plan, no more than 10% of total funds can be awarded towards administrative expenses. This includes menu planning, ordering, tracking inventory, submitting claims. Districts have the option to charge administrative expenses to the program if they wish. For operational costs, direct labor cannot exceed 30% of total funding, and the dollar amount of the award for produce and small supplies must be at least 60% of funding. To make a decision about 10% of funding for administrative expenses, let's take a look at what can be charged. Training time and travel, indirect costs, equipment, and of course administrative labor for menu planning, ordering, tracking inventory, and filing claims. Indirect costs may be charged at the federal unrestricted indirect rate. Equipment greater than or equal to $200 in cost must be approved by Child Nutrition Services in advance of the purchase. Equipment must also be prorated if it will be used by the NSLP and SBP. A reminder for food service management company contracted districts. The management company cannot operate the fresh fruit and vegetable program. It must be self-operated by the school district. If you plan to purchase equipment for the fresh fruit and vegetable program, fill out the equipment justification form and submit to CNS. Equipment is defined as a piece of equipment or repair of equipment exceeding $200 per unit. This is an allowable administrative expense, The form is located on the fresh fruit and vegetable page. Employees working for the National School Lunch Program and School Breakfast Program, as well as the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program, work from different funding codes and require that a timesheet should be kept. The timesheet allows and shows for the hours worked for the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program separate from the hours worked from the others. The timesheet cannot be based on the percentage of hours, but the actual time worked. Timesheets must be saved to support the claim for reimbursement. This is a sample of the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program spending plan completed for Adams Elementary School, or Enchanted School District actually, with an award of $35,600. The claim workbook is prepared from your spending plan and allows us to track administrative expenses, operational expenses, to ensure that they are no more than 10% and 30% of the award respectively. The claim workbook is at an LEA level, but the spending plan is school level. You must maintain documentation in a manner that supports a school level claim for reimbursement. All program records must be maintained. Claims, invoices, timesheets, and more are reviewed during an administrative review. I'm going to turn the presentation over to Heidi Kidd for a review on the claim workbook.
Hello, my name is Heidi Kidd, and I also have a fiscal analyst. Her name is Pam Frabel. You'll be sending your workbooks to her on a monthly basis. The workbook is outside of WINS. It is not something that you will find in WINS. You'll receive an email in October that will direct you to where you will go and download the first quarter FFEP workbook. That workbook then can be generated with your allocated amounts, by inputting your county district number in the box shown there. At that point, that'll bring up all your information and all your allocated awards. For the purpose of the FFEP fiscal workbook, it's not necessary to separate out by schools. So if you're a district that has many or a couple sites that are funded, on the workbook, you'll see that you can combine like items. So for instance, if you got 2 cases of oranges for one elementary and 1 for the other, we would typically just want to see for that month that you received 3 cases of oranges. The same with any other like products. That cuts down on the number of lines that you'll need on the workbook and also helps congregate those costs. Sam already talked about the fact that 10% can only be claimed for administrative costs, 30% for direct labor. What I will say about the direct labor is that the timesheets that you keep for each individual site will need to support the claim that you're putting in under direct labor on the fiscal action workbook. And the rest would be for small supplies and produce. So every month, as you send that into us, what we would do is we upload it into another workbook, and an apportionment workbook, and then we send that back to you. It is very important that you continue to use the same fiscal workbook for the quarter. You'll see along the bottom, there's tabs that show like a July claim and then a July revision. Then there's revision 1, revision 2, then there'll be an August claim, revision 1, revision 2. Some of the larger districts, they will often have receipts that are still outlying, and they often revise it. So again, cumulative is very important because the workbook keeps track. It's intuitive, and it keeps track of the amount of funding left and the amount of funding that you've used. The workbook also, if you were to put in more direct labor or administrative costs that exceeded 10%, you would see that it would disallow anything over that 10%. The same holds true for labor, the 30% labor. If you were to use all that 30% up and you put in more labor than that, you would see where the workbook would deduct that. So it's pretty intuitive in that sense. Remember that we are no longer doing the first and second periods. It's one full period. And so if you're a district that likes to have some money in August to start, some people go in, school districts operate in August, that you'd want to save some of those funds for August and September claims or supplies. If you're one that isn't worried about that, then it's fine to spend all your money by the end of June. But there is no extra funding left for startup. So you'll want to keep that in mind, that it runs October 1st through September 30 of the following year. If you have any questions, I'm always available. My phone number is 360-725-6287. Also, one more note is that the workbook would not be accepted. You want to make sure that you're putting your signature or your name in on the signature line, and that you are also dating it. We will return the workbooks to you if they are not signed and dated. And also to be paid in the same month. It's the same for NSLP. When you put in a claim, it has to be by the 15th of the month to be paid in the same month. Anything that we receive after the 15th of the month would be paid with the next month's apportionment. Thank you.
And just as a reminder, you'll want to submit your claims to Pam Fravel. Her email address is on the screen, and you will want to CC Heidi when you're submitting that as well, just so we make sure that everyone has that. And this screen just talks a little bit more about when the claims are due. So you'll just want to make sure to have that on your posted somewhere, maybe on a board, just so that way you have that. So you've seen this slide before. It's a reminder to procure with the goals of Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program in mind. Procure produce that expands the variety, increases the consumption, and makes a difference in student diet and future health. We're now going to go over procurement. To include new and exciting produce for kids to try, you may need to have a separate procurement from your school meal programs. In many cases, new and exciting produce can be procured using a micro purchase or small purchase method. Micro purchase, the threshold is now $10,000 and is considered a direct buy. Purchases are spread equitably amongst qualified sources. Small purchases are over $10,000 and up to $74,999, and 3 quotes will be required. You'll need to consider if you can purchase produce for the fresh fruit and vegetable program within your current contract, or if the additional quantity of fruits and vegetables will need you to change your existing contract. If you cannot change your existing contract because of volume, delivery schedule, or etc., you'll need to procure fruits and vegetables for the fresh fruit and vegetable program separately. Some things to consider when evaluating the need for new procurements are: what was included in the initial bid? Does my contract allow me to purchase a wide variety of fruits and vegetables? And what kind of fruits and vegetables can I buy given with my current contract? You have several options when it comes to procurement, and some are on the screen, and that includes DoD Fresh, farm to school projects, local farmers markets, and contact growers. Procurement resources are available on our web pages. Since the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program funds are federal funds, both the Uniform Grant Guidance and Guidance for Child Nutrition programs apply. One of the special child nutrition program procurement requirements is Buy American. As a reminder, sponsors must purchase, to the maximum extent practicable, domestic commodities and products. This is a good time to recognize that the Fresh Fruit and Vegetable program is the one time when limited exception is okay. You can find specific language to include in solicitations and contracts on the Buy American Provision reference sheet, which is also located on our procurement web pages. Fresh fruit and vegetable participants are encouraged to offer nutrition education. Nutrition education can be a simple farm to school lesson or even science or math related. Just be creative. Here are some resources for nutrition education. And as you can see, education and promotion ideas are endless. Participating schools are special. There are 281 public school districts in our state. The Fresh Fruit and Vegetable Program can serve schools with 50% or more free and reduced price meal eligibility. We are only able to award the program to schools with 74% or more. Program resources are available on the CNS web pages. The current FFVP team consists of Heidi Kidd, Pam Fravel, and Wendy Barkley. Program questions can go to Wendy, and claim questions can go to Pam or Heidi. We're always here to help you. And as a reminder, if you're reviewing this webinar and are using it for your training requirements, you must certify your participation by using the link in the description box below. Thank you for joining us today.